The Mouse and the Frog, a digital story creation project from Skokie Public Library.
A little while ago, a mouse lived in a hole in a lush green meadow. This detail will not surprise anyone who knows anything about mice. It's as unsurprising as the fact that kids like ice cream, or homework isn't that much fun, or sloths poop only once a week. What may surprise you is the mouse itself. We've all heard the things. Quiet as a mouse, timid as a mouse, though to be fair, that's a very human perspective. Mice probably have a very different sense of self. Did you know, for example, that mice can twist themselves through a hole the size of a pencil eraser as easily as you or I might walk through a regular human door? That's pretty impressive, and in this writer's opinion, overshadows the former description. Nonetheless, when we think of mice, perhaps after we finish screaming and jumping on chairs, we think quiet, timid, frightened. You get the idea. Well, not this mouse.
Amelia Mouse had adventures in her heart, which, like all mice, beats an average of 600 beats per minute. Imagine that! Amelia was a thrill seeker, regularly leaping off logs, climbing up tall trees, and giving the fat spring robins a shock of their lives by pretending her tail was a juicy worm. Life was hers for the taking. Nothing frightened her. Well, almost nothing. In the heart of that same meadow was a little pond, alive in a buzz, with dragonflies, water skaters, snails, minnows, and at the heart of it, on a broad water lily leaf, sat a grumpy, bumpy old frog named Merle. Oh, Merle liked things the way he liked them. And what he liked was sitting on his leaf listening to the resonant hum of the bugs, and occasionally to flick out his tongue and catch a few when he was feeling snacky. Nothing happened there without his notice, so you can imagine his surprise when he saw a furry little mouse pacing the edge of the pond, muttering and scolding under her breath.
Come on, Amelia, it's just water. You can do this. Be the fish. Dive in and swim. You're a boat. You're a dolphin. You're an octopus.
And with that, she rolled into her back and began paddling her little paws up in the air.
This behavior will not surprise anyone who knows anything about mice. The fact that though mice are excellent swimmers, they do not enjoy water is as unsurprising as chocolate chips being superior to raisins, or that bedtime is always too early, or that crocodiles cannot stick their tongues out. Amelia Mouse was no exception to this rule, but though she was terribly frightened of swimming, she knew that part of being a thrill seeker is pushing your own boundaries.
Be the squid, Amelia.
Merle watched all this with something like amusement and something like recognition stretched across his lumpy, bumpy face. Though he had settled into a comfortable, grumpy life of routine in the middle of his pond, Merle was once a bit of a daredevil himself, and he knew a pep talk when he saw it.
What's the problem, Mouse? You want to swim in my pond?
Oh, it's useless. I'm no water mouse. I'm a land mammal from the tip of my nose to the end of my tail.
It's hard to say what made Merle feel so generous. Maybe he'd let his head get just a bit too hot. Maybe he saw himself reflected in that little mouse. Or maybe it was that Merle had one last box on his to-do list that had never been ticked.
I will help you, Mouse. Why don't you hold on to my leg and we'll go in together?
Amelia didn't miss a beat.
You would do that for me?
Stick with me, kid.
And for the first time in a very long time, Merle went swimming. They took it slow at first, letting Amelia dip her toes in the water before hand in hand the two dived in, making the most magnificent splash. They spent hours like that, splashing and frolicking and enjoying each other's company, until both out of breath, muscles weary, they pulled themselves onto Merle's lily pad.
Lying on their backs, gazing at the clouds, both felt the kind of elation you feel when you realize the book you love is only half over, or that you're having your new favorite food for dinner, or in their case, that you've made a wonderful new friend. You know, Mouse, I've done a lot in my day. I once let a human pick me up. Disgusting. I once did a double backflip off a hollow log. I once ate a bee. But there's one thing I've never done. My whole life, I've wanted to fly. Amelia, still thrumming with adrenaline, sat up straight and grabbed Merle by his flippered front feet.
Frog, get ready for the ride of your life. Hidden amongst the tall grass and wildflowers that grew along the pond's edge, Amelia pulled her favorite prank. Slowly, she lifted her tail and gently wiggled it in the warm air.
What are you doing?
Trust me, said Amelia, and no sooner had the words left her mouth than a greedy robin appeared, ready for a mouthful of fat, delicious worm. Wasting no time, with one paw she pulled Merle to her in a tight embrace, while with the other she grabbed the shocked robin's extended foot. Up, up, the two of them went, into the air, looking at treetops below and the neighboring cloud cover as the pond receded from view. Never had either of them felt anything like it. When the robin reached the pond's center, Amelia released her grip on its panicky talon, and the two friends were free, soaring. Downward, they felt the wind on their bodies as stretched to catch. They flipped and whooped, circling in the air as they fell, feeling breathless and free, preparing to meet the water below. They flew, defying all odds, finding the thrills for which they had been seeking. Flying.